listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Cali, Estes, and Master Coach Jenny Fontana, founders of the Life Coach Method. Each one of our uplifting and deep dive episodes is geared to help you tackle the things that hold you back from having the most magnificent life you deserve. Sit back, relax, and prepare to be coached.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Unpause Your Life. I am Dr. Cali Estes, founder of Sober on Demand and the Addictions Academy. And my guest today, I have known for what feels like ever. I think it's like 15, 16 years. Based out of Colorado is Rob Archuleta. And he wrote a book called Suffer Well and has also recently gotten his PhD. And as you know, I'm into the fitness community. He's into the fitness community as well. So without further ado, welcome, Rob.
Hey, how's it going? It does seem like a long time, right? I remember reaching out to you, uh, probably saw you on MySpace back in the day and saw the Addictions Academy and reached out to do some training with us. So it's great to circle back and we've been in contact. So it's awesome watching all your success and watching everything you're doing as well.
Well, thanks. And I know I've trained Crossroads so many different times. You have such a good team. And I got to meet Ginger for the first time, like outside of, the bubble. I was at West Coast and she walked by and she's like, Callie. And I'm like, Ginger? All the way from
Yeah.
Colorado. And then she's like, yeah. And the team was there. So that was pretty cool. It was good to see you guys.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll just say this. My book is called Suffer Well, a tale of inspiration, determination, and perspiration. And I had somebody email me a few weeks ago and go, it says perspiration. I said, yeah, because it's hard work. And he goes, I didn't realize that's what it said. And I said, yeah. So the book is about a journey from, addiction to fitness and recovery because, you know, I've always kind of had this mentality, and I think you have as well, that uh, it's not just enough to abstain from addiction or toxic compulsive behaviors, but to also, succeed and live a life worth living, be successful, not just abstain, but live a successful and happy life. And big part of that is fitness, a big part of that is being healthy, developing healthy habits. And, we founded the program in Colorado called Addict to Athlete. There's one in New Mexico. It's kind of taken off at a couple different places. And it just is using education, connection, and fitness to help people recover from any toxic compulsive behaviors, whether it's food, gambling, porn, hoarding, drug and alcohol, everything. So it's a really good program.
So before you go any further, I know they're going to ask, Rob and I have a little bit of a different workout schedule. He's the 5 a.m. cycle, rah,
Yeah,
rah, and I'm like, I roll out of bed at 9 a.m. So
yeah,
before
yeah.
people get all crazy and say, do I have to be there at 5 a.m.? You can work out whatever you want.
Yeah, that's true. I actually go to bed early and probably get up because my wife owns a gym and I live about probably 30 minutes from it. So I get up at like 4, take a bunch of pre-workout, which is not the best, but it helps me get going. I see you drinking C4, so take some take some pre-workout, stretch, and then get going, start my day and drive to the gym, do CrossFit, teach spin, work all day, and sometimes I teach spin at night. As I've gotten older, I've learned that like going to bed early and stretching has become just as important as CrossFit, just as important as all the other stuff, running, biking, swimming.
That's funny you said that. I had Mel Pohl, Dr. Pohl, on my podcast, and we were talking about the vagus nerve. And I said to him, sometimes I have trouble sleeping. And he goes, well, you do yoga. You're like the yoga guru. I'm like, yeah. He goes, do you do yoga before bed? And I went, no, I do yoga in the morning. He goes, do it before bed. And even if it's just, one sun salutation, just stretch your neck and your back and whatnot. And I did, and I slept for the night. And I was like, I never thought of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy because I never thought I'd be like a yogi or into yoga, but I'm so into it, pushing my mid 50s, and, stretching, getting up, making sure that I'm warm. I don't know. I used to do it, just jump out of bed and take off running. I mean, I really warm up hard. I know people hate to warm up and they hate to stretch more than anything. And so, For me, it's just been an interesting journey. Like I think a lot of people that are in recovery or have battled addictions, like we talked about unpause your life, is unpausing your life and finding out what you're capable of, right? It's instead of just existing, but actually living. I do gravel bike races. I've done 7 Ironman triathlons, ultra marathons, ultra Spartans, and even at approaching my mid 50s, I'm like 100% still finding out. I got into gravel bike riding. What am I capable of? What am I willing to push my body through? How much training do I actually need? And it's just so interesting, people like us that work in the field and are trying to, I truly feel like you're always battling something. So this has been a great way to literally exercise the demons.
I love that you say that because I tell everybody you're going to be addicted to something. Our brain is, we're addicts. Our brain is always going to find something. And if that thing's exercise, it's a hell of a lot better than any drug or drink because it's definitely going to make you feel good. It's definitely going to make you look good. And it's going to make you feel like you can do anything. So,
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Taking pre-workout and doing, I've tried everything, right? I've never done performance enhancing stuff, but I had an injury. I tried some peptides. I did BPC from my provider, and he said, give it a shot, and doing energy drinks. And somebody said, yeah, well, you're doing everything but meth. And I said, you're right. I'm doing everything but meth, right? You know what I mean? So it's easy to say that. Like I'm like, that's the thing, is I'm doing everything but that, so we are just creatures of habit. I like what I like. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, if you studied my brain, when I'm shopping for shoes, my serotonin and dopamine goes higher than the average person. When I'm in, I'm all in,
yep,
right?
yep.
So, yeah, and the same thing with food. Like I've had to learn how to exercise and eat healthy because it's easy to cross addict over from drugs or alcohol into food, and the stuff I always say this, and I think you and I have the same mentality with this, is nobody gets addicted to things that suck. Do you know
Yep.
what I mean? Like I tell everyone, I go, listen, doing drugs was fun in the beginning, like, and I'm not glamorizing it. It's fun. It just is what it is. Going to a rave and hanging out at a club and partying and not and be having liberation from like you know any hesitation to just have fun, right? And that's like what drugs provided. But um, it eventually is not fun, right? And so I always say that nobody gets to the things that suck. I don't eat chocolate cake because it tastes terrible, right? And so my brain just goes like, I'm all into whatever makes us feel good, and I have to go, okay, but what does it lead to? What's the payoff? And I heard this Buddhist book, and I'll just say this really quick. And he was talking about eating, and he said, you know, um, the first taste of pie is amazing. The second one, it's really good still. Third, fourth, why am I doing this? And
Mhm.
I think that you kind of find that out, regardless of what your toxic or compulsive behavior is.
I think you're 100% right. And my birthday was last week, and a friend of mine is like, well, did you get a cake? And I said, no. And she was like, you get a cake on your birthday? I'm like, I can't have a cake in the house because there's no one slice of cake. It's going to be a fork and a cake, so
Yeah.
why bother? And she's like, well, just moderate it. And I looked at her and I went, and this is the difference between a normal person and an
Yeah. Yeah.
addict. And she's like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? And I'm like, we don't think this way. There's no moderated use. It's either
Yeah.
all in or all out. And I was trying to explain that to somebody. And I said, well, look at my Jeep Wrangler. Look what I did. I went over the top with mods. I didn't have to do
Yeah.
it, but that's how my brain went. Don't just mod a little. Let's see what all we can do. It's like
Yeah.
such a different mentality. And for people like us, we have to find a healthy outlet. Otherwise, that's why we see that relapse rate. It goes right back to the way it started.
Well, yeah, and having truly happy, and you do this too, truly, I have to stay driven, right? I have to have forward motion. I'm not a treading water type person. And I think you'll agree with me. Like when people ask me all the time, they say like, what's the drug problem in the United States? And I constantly say it's a purpose problem. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have purpose. A lot of people, one thing's three things drugs and alcohol give you is a false sense of purpose, a false sense of intimacy, and a false sense of control. That false sense of intimacy because you have it with people that you party with and you think you're close to those people. A false sense of control because you could control your weight, your feelings, your emotions. If you sell it, you could control people. And then a false sense of purpose. Every day you have direction. Every day you wake up in addiction, you go, I don't know what I'm not going to do, but I know what I am going to do. And every day I have to obtain my basic need. If you looked at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, my basic need is get more. And so then sometimes when you get sober, you're like, my purpose is gone. And then what is my new purpose? And I know for people like us, it's education, it's exercise, it's helping other people, it's building a business, it's whatever it is. But I have to have that forward motion. I cannot be treading water because once I start feeling like I'm treading water, I want to sink.
Yep. And then with my clientele, the more money they have, the worse that sink is. Like
Yeah.
we just had a client who did a 10-day detox, and during that he goes, "Oh my God, I'm supposed to be on the Ritz-Carlton. I booked the entire top suite for $175,000 and forgot to get on the plane." And I'm like, the average bear for 175 grand doesn't forget to get on the plane, just doesn't forget. But because he's so deep in his addiction, he's like, "Ah, no big deal." The more money, the harder it is to get them sober because they can't maintain that purpose.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And just it can't. First of all, can he help me with my student loans, or would that be inappropriate? No, I'm just kidding. Uh, just kidding. So, but it can't be about money, and it can't be about like, it can't just be about success, right? It has to be
Right.
about purpose in that success, and about sharing that, like they say in the 12 step groups, sharing that experience, strength, and hope. That's what I get from you. Like you're sharing your experience, your strength, and your hope. Does it? Because I see sometimes people say stuff to you and I'm like, it's not braggadocious if your intent is to share experience, strength, and hope, and say, if I can do it, you could do it. And that's kind of what I get from you, right? And we don't agree with everything because sometimes I see some interviews you say, and I go, oh, I disagree with that, but I understand your intent and I understand you're sharing experience, you're sharing your strengths, you're sharing your purpose, and you're saying, like, hey, this is where I started. This is my journey now. It's not braggadocious. It's me saying, like, you could do this. I did it. And I think some people, the people that have a hard time with that, like the keyboard warriors that have a hard time, are the ones that are unhappy themselves, right? And I don't see it that way. Like I 100% am like, she's all about the cause. She's all about what she's doing. And I think for us, success has to be in that. It has to be in all of that, in sharing it. And it's funny because I just did a podcast with some ladies that are ultra marathon runners. They're training. Taylor, good luck, Taylor. She's training for the Moab 240, and we had this conversation about, would you still run that hard and that far, 240 miles? Would you still do that if you? She's an influencer. I go, if you couldn't post, and if no one saw. And she said, like, she actually got a tattoo on her leg that says no spectators to
Oh, wow.
remind herself that that's why she does it, right?
Yep.
And so I think you would do it with or without social media. I would do it with or without social media, but it is a great platform to share experience, strength, and hope.
I hate social media for the record. And I hate having to go on TV and podcast. I hate it all. I hate it all. Hated all of it. I've been doing this 28 years, 29 years this year. So it's a pretty long time. So way before social media, but I do it because I have to. And I am controversial. People and some of the things I do say are controversial on purpose to get people to talk. Because it's like, I
Yeah.
want you to talk. I want you to think. I want you to research. I want you to come up with a conclusion that works for you, because we're just following the leader, and not everybody's pathway is the same. Not everybody's solution is the same. So that's kind of how I
Yeah.
earned that got that tag of disruptor.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's good. We have to have people that are doing something different, right? We have to have people because not everything gets everybody high the same way, and not everything gets everybody sober the same way. And so we have to have those people that are outliers. We have to have those trail burners, or just people that are, like you said, disruptors, or people that are out there just trying to shake the snow globe and go like, think outside the box. Do you know what I mean? Like how many people, just only knew the 12 steps, or only knew cognitive behavioral therapy, or only knew this. How many people, were just stuck in that box and it didn't fit, but didn't really have options.
Hmm.
right? And so I do think like I tell everybody like, when I do public speaking or when I'm working with people, I always say like, if I had the answers, if I 100% knew, I'd be the Tony Robbins of addiction, and I would not be sitting here with you. I'd be in a jet somewhere, So, um, but I would still be doing the same thing I do. But I was like, nobody has the cure, not yet anyway. Maybe AI will come up with the cure, but right now we don't have it.
Yeah. I think AI is going to make it worse because so many people now are addicted to AI. Like they don't even have human conversations. They're having full-on conversations with their chat GPT. And it's like they don't ask each other anything. They're like, well, my husband did this. Is he a narcissist? And then chat comes back and says, yes. Oh, my husband's a narcissist. And I'm like,
Yeah,
that's just like, he doesn't even fit
yeah,
criteria. So there's
yeah.
that issue. But
So you've been talking to my wife, and I'm just kidding. I'm just, I'm just kidding. She hates AI, so I know that's not her. But no, but you're right. I mean, and one thing like chat all AIs, right, is it's overly endorsing of your what's it called, of your questions or your thoughts. It doesn't contradict them. It's like I'm like, hey AI, does my hair look better to the right or the left? And it's like, I'm so glad you asked that. That is such a great, amazing question. And you're like, it really is, isn't it? So it's that confirmation bias. You know what I mean?
I can tell you, I downloaded Elon Musk's Rock because everyone
Okay.
is
Yeah.
like, just download that, and I did, and I asked it a question, and I said, make this savage, and it made it savage. It came back, and it was like, nope, and it gave me like this, and I'm like, oh wow, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, there
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
no filter. Whereas ChatGPT was, let's make this light and airy and comfortable and happy and butterflies and
Yeah.
cupcakes and Grok's like over here burning up the fire. It was just kind of
Yeah.
cool to watch.
Yeah, it is going to get very interesting because there also is a lot of AI slop on social media, and I'm actually working on a book about that right now as a sociologist, seeing the way people learn and the way that we could be misled easily, because it is easy to fall into all of that. I think we're going to have a whole different type of addiction, a whole different type of isolation away from humanity, away from that connection, and we really need that connection still with each other.
Yeah. And that's going to cause more addiction because, isolation and addiction go hand in hand. It
Yeah,
didn't start that way. Everything was partying and being around people. And then eventually it ended up I'm home alone and now I'm just getting high on my own. And it's like, okay, how did I get here? How did this happen?
yeah, yeah, and especially if it's hard to see something's abnormal when you're in like an environment that doesn't point it out. Do you know what I mean? I kind of say this all the time. Like if you're at home on a Monday and there's 20 adults in a house and nobody has anything to do and you guys are all getting high and partying, it seems pretty normal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like when but you're like, but everybody's here.
Hmm.
But you have to get outside that circle to say like this is a social norm in my circle, but it's not a social norm in the vast, society. And yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting time. We're alive at a very good but interesting time.
Yeah. Gen X, because we've been through everything. We went through rotary phones on a wall, and here we are with like, we could talk to each other and see each other. We didn't grow up that way. These kids that grew up this way, it's normal to them. For us, it was like you didn't have to do your hair and makeup. You could answer the phone in PJs. It didn't matter. Now it's like incoming call. Oh, I got to put a filter on because I don't have my hair done and my makeup done and all the other nonsense. So it's shifted so much. And then, image goes down and in self-worth goes down and body dysmorphia goes up. So we're battling all of that. Add in everything is AI and we're headed for disaster if we don't get our, bearings on it.
Yeah, it's interesting because both of us working in the field, of human behavior and like what's going to dictate like the direction that we go as far as health, as far as physical health, as far as mental health. It's going to be interesting because I think AI in the digital world can help with those things. Like I know, like I have friends that use Whoops and Garmin's and all that stuff to track their information and different exercise equipment. Then I have other friends who are like, technology's taking care of my diet. I could do a GLP-1. I don't have to do this. And I it's very much it's interesting. Like, and I'll just say this really quick. We were talking at a conference and somebody said like, I hate methadone. And I was trying to explain to him like, look, methadone is harm reduction. It's not a cure. It's reducing, it's meeting that basic need of drugs and alcohol, but it's harm reduction so that you could learn other coping behaviors because you don't want to think about life when your basic need hasn't been met, right? And your basic need is to not withdraw. And I was like, but has everybody doesn't see GLP-1s or Ozempic as a harm reduction, right? They see it as like a cure. And I'm like, no, you still have to learn a diet. You still have to learn exercise because eventually, don't you want off of it? Don't you want off of the GLP-1s? Don't you want off of it eventually? Because it's very much similar in that way. Like you're using it to help you get over this like toxic compulsive behavior, just like we do methadone, and you're going to a clinic and getting it. You're not getting it on the street, but it also is a large part of your new journey, right? But what's the end game? You know,
That's a that's a great analogy because people don't look at like that sector. Like the weight loss sector is just it's a, something we're going to use. I'm still going to eat cheeseburgers, but I'm going to take Ozempic, and it's like what? Like that to them is normal. And then, but I don't like methadone, and you're getting high if you take a Suboxone. It's like, wait a minute. It's like the pot calling the kettle black. You gotta take a look at the whole picture. And a lot of people don't want to do that. So I love that analogy. I'm gonna steal it.
yeah, yeah, go ahead, steal it. I think, I know we're bouncing around a lot because we're short on time, but it's great talking to you and just bouncing, ideas and thoughts, back and forth because I do think like, we being into fitness, being into recovery, and then also being into, helping people and find themselves like, do you find it? I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you find it difficult to have those conversations about wealth and health when their goal is to just abstain from drugs and alcohol?
So when they hire me, here's what I tell them. This is not an abstinence program. This is a whole life overhaul. You have to be willing to come off of sugar, white flour. We're going to do exercise. We're going to biohack. We're doing blood work. I do all that with them. If you're not willing for a lifestyle change, don't hire me because you're not going to like the result. I'm not going to just detox you and leave you. Like you've got to change everything. And I get that buy-in from the beginning. And we turn clients away. We're like, if you're not willing to do that, I'm telling you, you're not going to be successful because you're going to go right back to where you are because you're not doing those things. And I have some guys that are multimillionaires that have no idea who they are. And they're like, I built this amazing company, I sold it, and now I'm just sitting here drinking my life away because I don't know who I am. I was the company, and now I'm not. So to answer your question, yeah, I mean, it's you've got to change everything, not just friends and family, but you got to look at your internal. How do you feel? Because if you don't feel good, you're going to get high. It's that simple. If you feel good, you're not. Well, you feel good when you're not eating sugar and you're exercising and your blood work looks good and you go outside and you have sun and sand and mountains and whatever you like, but you're sitting here staring at the phone, you're going to feel awful.
Yeah, what's the healthy balance for you? When you give yourself a treat, what is it? For me, I'll tell you for me what it is. I Caffeine is my last thing, right?
Yeah.
It's the last thing where I'm like, if I could kick this, it would be a lot different. Everything else pretty good. But when I do fall off, it 100, and I'm a vegetarian for spiritual reasons, but when I do fall off, like I want sweets so bad. And that just shows you, I heard you say like sugar was one of the hardest things to get off of. And it is, it's kind of like even when I'm not doing it in the back of my head, like even when I'm doing like a race, sometimes like I just did a gravel bike race, I'm riding up this mountain and I knew at the aid station they had donuts. And I was like, when I finish this race, I don't care about the medal. I want to eat a donut. Do you know? And so
Yeah.
like I still will, I won't, I'm with you. You can't have it in the house.
Yeah.
But I do give in. What is your give in? Where do you give in?
So, okay, so two things. So for me, sugar's not a reward. I had to break that. So cake is not a
Yeah.
reward. Ben and Jerry's, this is not a reward. So getting that off my head, I'm like, what are things I like that are reward? Oh, massage. So I do a massage. I'll go take a yoga class. I'll go take a singing bowl, something like that. I'm like, that's a reward. That's an event. I went to Europe. I do those things. But like you, my last vice is this little jug here. And I started drinking just half of it, and then I'll swirl it so it's flat, and I won't drink it when it's flat. And I'm like, okay, we had it. We opened the can, we heard the sound, we had some, and then we throw it away. So I've gotten to that point, but I still drink coffee. I'm like, I'm not giving up my coffee. I still do my Americano in the morning. So it's like I still want the things that other people have, but I don't look at them as rewards. I look at them as part of my program for that day. And if I don't have a C4, it's not like, oh, I didn't have a C4, I can have a triple mocha espresso. It's like, okay, I didn't have a C4, that's a win. I made it the day without the C4. I get the gold star. So that's how I do it. And then I try to I out psych myself. So it'll be like, did you really need that? Do you really want that? Like when I go to Starbucks, there's all the junk you can buy, and I'll just get a coffee or I'll just get a water. I don't need that. I look at myself and I say, do you really want that? It's preservatives. It's in it's not a freshly made piece of cake. It's in a plastic wrapper. Like, you don't
Yeah.
want that. Why would you buy that right now? Oh, okay, you're right. So I have those conversations. I still do. And I got 28 years sober. It's still that in my conversation in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think you're right. I was training some new staff and we were talking about self-care. And they were like, well, I do this or I do that, and I go hiking or and I was telling them, I'm like, self-care can't be an event, right? It can't be an event. Like I go to the mountains and I go fishing. I'm like, that's an event. Do you do that every day? That's kind of like you said, that's a reward, but it's not necessarily self-care, right? Where even a massage, like I'm with you, like I wish it's a maintenance part of everything I do, but that is not 100% self-care. Yoga could be self-care if I do that every day. Time with my dog could be self-care, but I can't make self-care an event that I can't always get to. Do you
Right.
know what I mean? And it's so hard to get people to they're like, but I do this for myself. And I'm like, but you do that every 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like I go on vacation. That can't be self-care, especially when you're in the field of taking care of others.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear you say that. Sugar is a reward for me. I'm just sorry. Like I'm still that I'm still that dog. I'll still shake if you give me a treat. I'll roll over, whatever. Like I can
Yeah.
because I don't want to give it up totally. And I say that all the time. Like, dude, you're not going to give up anything that you truly don't want to give up.
Yeah.
But for me, I have that discipline where I go, okay, listen, like this is once every 6 months or after a race. It's not like I'm like, I sent an email. I deserve a chocolate.
I
You know
get a
what I mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
donut. But how old are you now?
53.
You look good for 53. So I
Yeah,
just turned
thanks.
52, and if I eat sugar, my heart races now. That's a new thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't like that. So I'm like, every time I eat it, it happens. So I'm like, no, caffeine doesn't do it. Sugar does it. So for me, I'm like, no, I'll pass.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting how you find out as you get older, the way your body is like, because you're not burning it off or you're not it's not processing the same way. I'm that way with, like you said, white flour. Like I'm that way where like I'll notice like my knee hurts, my ankles
Hmm.
hurt. Like I feel like I could feel my joints. I could feel that I'm, like inflamed and puffy. And it could just be the smallest piece too, like the
Yeah.
smallest thing. And it never used to bother me like that.
Yep. I even had to switch protein powder because I was doing a whey-based powder and I started to feel like I'm bloated and inflamed. And then I switched I have a vegan and then I have a beef collagen. And even the beef collagen's iffy with me. And I'm like, oh my God, like it's down to just vegan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So what's next for you? You have a book, you're filming a movie. Like I watch you on like social media and and I don't follow a lot of people, but when I look at yours, I'm like, damn, and I think I do a lot.
So well, it's synchronicity. Things happen. So we're doing the movie. It's called The Black Book. So it's all about like what I do different and my story, and then a little bit about the shady side of the industry and how, people take advantage in that. I have another book coming out. My seventh book is sitting on the editor's desk, so that's coming out. And then I don't know from there. I need another Europe vacation to figure out the next thing. And then we'll see. What do you have on deck? What's all you?
Yeah, so me, I mean, I have a bunch of races and stuff that I want to still do. I want to, I want to, I've been into high rocks. Do you know what high rocks is?
Mm-mm.
It's like CrossFit
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
like
I've
yeah.
seen that. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's like wild. Yeah.
Yeah, so I went to Houston and I had a really good time and did really well. Had I known I was doing as well as I did, I would have picked it up because I could have been in the top. But I really got into that. I think that's like something I really want to do. And then I'm working on a book about the way we learn. I'm working on a book how social media has impacted our learning, how we still fall, victim to headlines and not reading and kind of confirmation bias is a new thing. I touch base on like, the influencers and you know, and necessarily like that. One of the things I talk about, I'll just talk about this real quick in my book, is that it used to be we were buying a product, but now with influencers, they are the product.
Hmm?
Like Kim Kardashian is the product, right? Like, and some of these influencers, like I talk about, like Bella Thorne, all these people they are the product. They're attractive, they're beautiful, they are the product, right? That's what you're into, and then that because they're influencing you, because you feel like you have this intimacy. Joe Rogan the same way, right? And I fall victim to that too. He is the product because I'm like, I don't care about bow hunting. Do you know what I mean? But for some reason, he sucks me in, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm an animal rights person, but I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, you shot a bear. Then I'm like, what am I doing? Like, but even people with critical thinking like me, like we learn differently because we invest into the person being the product, and then that opens doors and it impacts the way we learn. And so that's like what I'm working on my book now. I put you on the spot. Like I'll let you read it, and then maybe you could write the intro for it.
I that would be cool because I was going to say, alternatively, I want to know what happens to the influencer that's beautiful that starts to age out because it's just like the escort agency. You're great at a certain time, but you hit a certain age, nobody wants to deal with you. So what's going to like right now?
Yeah,
I look through Instagram and the people that have the most followers are the young 20 something hot girls and the middle aged men that are hot and tattooed. Like that's everybody's
yeah.
following them. And I'm thinking, what's going to happen? Because you're all going to age out. Then what? You're not going to have that power and that following and that accolade. What happens?
Well, it's interesting. You are 100% correct because we haven't seen it yet. Like, what happens to your OnlyFans when you're, a lot older? Do the followers go with you, or do they jump backwards to the young again? And one of the things that, and this sounds like really taboo to say, but I listened to Bill Maher and he was talking about like the masturbation economy and a whole economy based on people being attractive. Do
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, and it used to just be strip clubs and prostitution and magazines, and now it's like social media, it's OnlyFans. It's even entered the fitness industry to a point like where that is like a whole industry in itself. But you're right, what happens to the product as it gets older?
Here's something else for your book. There's a kid, and I don't know his name. He was 17 from another country, and he created an avatar, an AI avatar of this girl, pretty blonde, typical, and threw her in OnlyFans. And it's not even a real human, it's an avatar. And she hit the top grossing per day allowance like that. And he made all this money. He made millions of dollars, and he's like 17. And I'm thinking to myself, he just bypassed like all the hard work, made the money, and everybody bought into a fantasy that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, isn't that strange though that we're so we desire connection and we desire like just an escape so bad and that connection to that, like we're into that, right? Like we're into because it's not just about looking at somebody, it's interacting with somebody, right?
Mm.
It's not like a Playboy or it's not like a Sports Illustrated swimsuit, or it's like, no, I want to talk to them. Right. Like I think Cindy Crawford was like the model back in the day, right? Cindy Crawford, it's funny because I always say this, like Cindy Crawford was the most beautiful woman. Richard Gere was like the most beautiful
Yeah.
man, right? But you don't want to watch a Cindy Crawford video. And if I can't interact with you, I want to be able to message you. I want to be able to interact. Same thing with Richard Gere. If Richard Gere doesn't have a social media where I could read like, what's Richard eat? Like, what's he doing today? Do you know, he didn't post any pictures of his food. Is Richard doing okay? Like, right. And so we want that connection so bad. And it's crazy because I'm obsessive over the band Depeche Mode. And like growing up, I would watch all their videos, listen to all their music, and then I would be like, I know them. right? I would have been fanatical if I would have had social media back then and I could like interact
Yeah.
or read their posts every day or read like what they're going through that day, or he's in New York today, he's posting pictures with fans, I got to get in the car and go to New York. I would have been one of those people. So it is very different to how intrusive it could be as well.
And it's funny that you say that because I'm the opposite. Like I'm like I've got pictures all over. I've got Nikki Six and Peter DiStefano and Mike Tramp. All of my the pictures of me like in the kitchen with these people that I know.
Yeah, yeah,
Comes over because we had the movie here, so we had to put all this stuff up. And they're like, "Oh my God, that's you and Nikki Six." I'm like, "Yeah." Like it doesn't even like I don't
yeah,
even.
yeah,
I'm like whatever. But my brain goes the other way. It's always like, if you guys can do it, so can I. Like you're no different than me, so I don't have
yeah,
that. But so many people have that. They're like, "Can you get me so and so's autograph?" I'm like, "Yeah." Why? Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's, and then I think with, and this is interesting for your book, the more we get into this, the more we get into the social media, I think people are going to start losing sight of reality, where they're going to think reality and fantasy are not the same thing. Like they did. Do you remember the game Grand Theft Auto?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
remember
yeah,
when they were throwing cinder blocks off the five down you
yeah,
to kill
yeah, yeah.
Neo? Like the kids were in the mood in the game. Like I think that's going to start to happen. We're going to start seeing more of that mess.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I also agree with you too, like, once you kind of like interact with, when you truly interact with somebody like in person, even your persona is different. Like, because I know you, right? So I've sat in a room with you, I've done trainings with you, I've been trained by you, you've trained my staff. So I see like who you are and then who you are on social media, and it's like a Polaroid version of like a whole network. Do you
Mhm.
know what I mean? And like I'm looking at a Polaroid, but to people that haven't had that, right? They don't have that. They just they see that and that's what they think you are. And it's funny because I so I was on the Mariana Van Zeller podcast, right? And she's won a Peabody, she's won and I think an Oscar. She's won everything, right, for her
Ah,
show. And so she was on Joe Rogan, and then I was on her podcast the next day, right? So I was a little like, oh my God, this is who she is. And I watch her show, Traffic. And then when you get in front of her and I talk to her and she's talking smack with me and she's like so laid back, and I'm like, why do we build that stuff up in our head, right? Why do we? Because I was so nervous going in. Then we talk, I'm like, dude, it's just a person. It's just a person. But we do want to have, we I don't know what it is. We do want to have that person of authority or that person of glamour to look up to, and maybe it's so that we could strive to it, or maybe it's just fulfill some kind of need to have leadership. I don't know what it is, but it
I
is
don't
an
have
interesting
that.
thing.
I'm
Yeah,
with there. I don't have that. And I got on a plane once in first class, and there was this guy, 6'5", gets on, and he's got a little mask thingy on, like a weird thingy, and all these people knew who he was. He was NBA, and they're all asking for his autograph, and I'm like, shit, my seat was next to his. So I sat down, and he goes, "You want my autograph?" And I'm like, "I don't know who you are. Do you want my autograph?" And he just looks at me, and he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, I might be more famous than you." And I just busted right into the conversation.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And he just looked at me and he's like, "No one's ever done that." And I'm like, "I don't know who you are. I don't care." Like
yeah,
it's so, but with your book, another piece is the online dating. This is what I'm going through. The online dating is a shit show because everybody wants connection, but the minute they start to have connection, they swipe and they're like, "Oh, too much, go to the next one." And it's like this ongoing like shuffling decks. It's crazy.
yeah. I'm gonna say this. I'm so glad I'm not doing that. I'm so glad I'm married. I definitely don't have the patience for it.
Oh,
Um,
it's
yeah,
bad.
I'm sure I hear people at the gym talk about it. Okay, so um I just found out about this, and this is I know we got to wrap it up, but these ladies at the gym were talking about like Facebook has these groups that don't let men on, and it's like, are we dating the same guy
Oh yeah.
Denver? Are we
Yeah.
dating the same guy Springs? And so they're pulling up all these people from the town that they're in, and I know some of those guys, and I'm like, man, you just can't be a player. You can't like a girl or a guy. I'm like, it is everywhere. All your stuff is out there. And they're showing me the comments, right? So everybody, they're like, And then there's like the funny thing is, and this is probably how online dating is, right? The funny thing is there's all these people like that guy, blah, blah, blah. He cheated on me, cheated on my sister. And then there's like that one unhealthy person that's like, he is pretty hot though. You know what I mean? And they're like, and then and they're like, oh, can you believe that girl? I'm like, well, he is pretty good looking. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it is a different world. It 100% is a different
Oh,
world.
that's the running joke. So I have three really good girlfriends. So I'll send them a photo and then it goes down the line. Like my friend Chelsea's always like, no. My sister will send a squirt bottle, like you trade in a dog, you know?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
my friend Tara will send a red flag. And as soon as all three of them pick it together, I'm like, that's the one I'm going out with. And they're like,
yeah,
oh my God. Like every time, clockwork every time. It's like, he's hot. Yeah, of course he's hot. He's a red flag. Stop that. Like,
yeah.
but it's that mentality. Yeah.
This is a side thing, but this is how crazy social media is. I read this article and I don't know if you saw this, but it was a guy who had bought an airplane and the airplane didn't run. And he was like, oh, what could I use this for? Do I use it for scrap? Can I use it as a movie prop? Whatever. So what he did is he started to uh, do the upholstery different every 3 months and let influencers and people on social media rent it to take pictures with their friends of fake flights they're on,
What a
fake
great
private flights.
idea.
And he's like, I bought myself a private jet with a broken airplane because so many people want to think that they're on. And I'm like, how do you date in that world?
Oh,
You know, and like you're like he has a private plane. No, he rented a plane that has no wings, but it looks great on the inside, you know?
I could this is a horror story. I just wrote the book I just wrote is called Dating Disasters. So it's sitting on my publisher's desk. I spent $47,000 on a private matchmaker. It was the three worst dates I've ever been on. I mean, it's bad. It is so bad. So I'm just like, I gave up. I'm like, I'm not on any apps. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to use energy and he's going to fall from the sky. And that's how it's going to work because this is just ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's definitely, like I said, it's definitely a different world, but I know you have to go and I don't want to keep you. Thank you for spending time with me though.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast. We're going to put your book on the show notes and anything you want up there so people can find you. But real quick, give us a plug. How can they find you?
Yeah, so you could find the book is on Apple, it's on Barnes and Noble, it is on Amazon. I always say Amazon's the easiest way to get everything. It's audiobook. This gentleman, I don't read it. His name's Aaron Goodwin. He does a really good job. And I also want to say this, the book is not just about me and my story or athletics or the second part of the book, I call it a peanut butter cup. The second part of the book is also understanding treatment, understanding recovery, everything from secular to spiritual to what is cognitive behavioral therapy to what is medications. How do you do an assessment? What is the difference between someone with lived experience, a psychologist, a clinician, all of those things. So the second part of the first part of the book is like, you know, it's about like me, my journey, my family. And then the second or the first part, and then the second part is actually just talking about this is what treatment is, this is what treatment isn't, right? From my perspective, of course. And so you could find me that way. And then on, I don't really do the social media thing, so it'd be a waste, but the book is everywhere. Suffer Well, A Tale of Inspiration, Determination, and Perspiration.
And I noticed you called it a peanut butter cup, which is a food
Yeah,
reference. So
I
you are a
know.
foodie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well,
Thank you for
thank
coming on
you.
the show. And we're going to put everything on there so they can find it in Amazon links and we'll make it easy.
All right,
So you've been
cool.
listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Cali Estes. My guest today was Rob Archuleta.
Thank you for listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Cali Estes and Master Coach Jenny Fontana. Head over to www.thelifecoachmethod.com to learn more about coaching yourself and how to become a master coach.